We're again, PDAC 2024, Toronto, biggest mining show of the world. And we're talking to Element79 CEO James Tworek. Not the first time, so we won't go into the backstory this time, but rather directly to an update. Just a short reminder what's been happening over the last couple of months when you changed the focus to be almost exclusively on Peru.
Sure thing. Thank you. You're right. I mean, over the last 4 years, we grew from one property to quite literally 20 properties. And now we've been divesting of that entire portfolio. The main focus was, from day one, how can we generate cash flow inside this company? How can we turn this into a real business? Let's be honest, Bjorn, if you and I started a coffee shop tomorrow, we'd have hard costs, we'd have sales, and then you'd have revenue and profit, right? Simple math.
Not in the
very difficult to create in the mining sector. So the first rendition was to try and acquire a portfolio that you buy low, and then as the resource value creeps up, and I think gold passed 2120 today, if I'm not mistaken, 2123 last time I saw it. With that in mind, we're talking about being able to buy low, sell high. And we have achieved that, to be completely honest. We have the Dale property under contract for sale. We're doing a plan of arrangement spin out, which means that it will become its own public company in very short order. Okay. And I mean, by first half of 2024, we will have that completed. We sold some other assets to a company called Centra. Centra has completed, I've just been told in the last week, its own, it is a private company, but it's completed its own 43101 report. And therefore it's now going to start its process to start going public, which gives us free trading shares on the, in our balance sheet that we can gradually over time bleed out for using that non-dilutive capital to then use to fund our exploits, right? Fantastic. We don't need to dilute our investors any further. And yes, we did complete a consolidation of shares where we went 10 to 1. There was too much abuse in the market from algo trading and so on and so forth. We tightened things up, and then we also cleaned up the balance sheet, focused on basically making sure that the big parties that we owed a lot of money to for the last, how they funded our past exploits, that they're now entrenched and they want to become part of a multi-dollar story. And ultimately focus on Peru, get to production, which is very tangible.
Okay. Well, they're certainly looking forward to that. And it's been going well. Yeah, there's been a kind of interesting news flow over the last month. Not a drill result, but sample results, MOU with the nearby company. Please talk a bit about that.
Sure thing. So we always knew that this mine, the sexiest thing to us was, in the past, the proof of what was actually there, right? Multi-ounce gold, multi-ounce silver. And we did hire one consultancy that did a great job for what they were hired for doing, but they didn't give us the data-driven results that we were looking for, meaning that they just grabbed a bunch of samples, chip samples and grab samples. Okay, that's the lowest on the range of all of the, geological proof of what's actually there. The next higher is that we've just finished as of the end of December, and we're due back in the next week or two, the lab results for what we've done for channel sampling. And that is data-driven at very specific intervals up and down all of the channels. And I mean, when we acquired this, there were 2.5 kilometers of underground workings that we thought were there. There's actually almost 9 kilometers of underground workings that the artisanal workers have been working on since 2005 up until now. And we've done sampling along that. That will end up feeding what we end up turning into a drill plan for drilling inside the adit. So figuring out how the veins expand and contract, as well as that data from those backpack or pack-sack drills will feed what we turn into core recovery drilling later this year.
Okay.
So very exciting to see where we're going and growing.
Okay, interesting. And also there's the possibility to get into production, well, not easier, but earlier perhaps than if you had to create it on your own, because there's a company nearby that would perhaps like to take your ore once you produce it. Let's say like that.
There's a couple different angles of that. And the most specific is, yes, we've signed an LOI. It is not a definitive agreement at this time, so I can't talk about specific terms. Although even meeting with the counterparty, Buenaventura, yesterday, still talking about turning this into a definitive agreement that we'll have at market terms. We'll see how things work out between now and, I'll argue by June, but they want us to start producing at 200 tons per day.
Okay.
I feel that we're going to start working, to take a half step back, work with the artisanal miners that have been working on this property and extracting something like 70 to 90 tons per week.
Okay.
Today. That's our internal estimate. And we've heard other rumblings from the processor that's processing that ore in terms of the high grade stuff they're sending down the highway. It's about 200 tons per month.
Okay.
So to give you an idea, at 22 days per month minimum, at 200 tons per day, I'll let you run the math as to what you think we're going to be producing. But we are going to be crawling before we jog, before we walk, before we run. And the off-taker wants as much as 200 tons per day. It's going to take us a minute to get there. So number one, drilling, prove up the mine plan, and then start extracting in a ramp-up fashion to get there.
Okay. Well, interesting. So that's part of the project for 2024 then?
That's up until the middle of the year. And then after that, it's production stats. That's my goal.
Okay, well, that's not that far away. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that. And hopefully, the gold price will play along. It's doing quite well the last couple of days. It's very strange being at PDAC and the gold price is up. But people talk about the PDAC curse. Yeah, we've broken, knock on wood there. Right. So best of luck. And hopefully, we'll see more of it and hear more of it soon. Thank you.
You most definitely will. Thank you very much.